Hi, this is Bethany and you're watching ABK News. Right now I'm about to enter the constructing building to have an interview with President Catherine Patrickson. Right now we are in the discussion building where the President and Vice President have their discussions. Sadly, right now the Vice President isn't here right now, but soon we will have an interview with President Patrickson. Please give all your attention to President Catherine Patrickson. Please welcome President Catherine.
For me? But I'm taken, see? Pablo, take my scarf. Although it's a little itchy, but I can deal with it.
Hi, now we will start our interview about our new government with President Catherine. Please give her a warm welcome.
Hi guys, I just want to say I'm very honored and proud to be a president of such an amazing country.
Well, that's great. So what are the new Bill of Rights we will be offered?
Well, all citizens will be guaranteed a right to a fair trial, a right to gender equality, right to privacy, right to freedom of speech and religion, right to protect your property, right to equal pay, which means that if you have the same job as a man, or if you have the same job as a woman, and you're equally as smart in the same position, you'll get equally as paid. You all have the right to free education, right to weapons, right to protest, and right to health care.
Wow, they sound great, especially the one about the health care. Now we are back. So tell me about the political parties we can choose from.
Well, we have the Conservatives and the Liberals. Conservative is the party that represents members who are very rigid and traditional. The Liberals are the party that represents members that are very broad and open-minded, and they're open to change. The two parties, the Conservatives and the Liberals, were formed because they both had different ways of thinking. It started off with them as one group, but then they both started fighting because they wanted different things. So that's how it still is today, as two different groups, so they formed. For example, the Conservatives stand for gun rights, and the other hand, the Liberals believe that general public shouldn't have guns. Another example is that the Liberals believe that we are greater together than we are on our own. Conservatives think that we are better independent than we are together. Conservatives also stand for industrial businesses and are very unhealthy to our environment. The unhealthiness is caused by overdose of pollution and chemicals, whereas the Liberals are very earth-friendly by keeping the pollution and chemical usage to a minimum amount. The Conservatives think that private school is a better choice than public school. They think that because kids shouldn't have distractions like people's apparels and accessories, whereas the Liberals think that public school is a great choice because kids should learn how to respect others' traditions and religious beliefs, right?
So what are the voting procedures? If we want to vote, if someone wants to go to vote?
Well, to be elected as a composer, you must be a male or female that is at least 28 to 85 years old, who has lived in the state you're representing and has lived there for at least 5 years. You would work in the composing building. Each state will have 8 composers. Each composer will serve one 5-year term. Election will be held every 5 years in late January. An official must be elected. Composers are the people that would compose the laws. From there, they will send their law to the explanatory decision makers. And the explanatory decision makers, they see if the law should be passed, and if it should be passed, if it gets passed, they'll explain the law to the citizens of Kulkaras. In the explanatory decision makers, we have the president and the vice president. To be elected as a president or vice president, you must be a male or female that is at least 40 years or older. You must be a naturally born citizen of our country of Kulkaras. You would serve one 6-year term and work in the constructing building, and will also be given the pleasure to live there with your family too. There would only be one president and one vice president. If anything were ever to happen to the president, the vice president would take over and there would be a re-election for the vice president. If you want to be a citizen and if you want to vote, you must be a citizen who is a male or female, and you must be at least 21 years of age. You must have lived in the country of Kulkaras for at least 6 months, so that we know that you understand our economy and our government and all our rules.
Very good. So what's the election or voting process?
Well, if you want to be a citizen to vote, to make your vote count, you must go to your county building and vote for the candidate who you think would make a better person for our country and will make us live in a better place. And if you want to run to be anything you want. If you want to be a composer or a decision maker, explanatory decision maker, you will have the right to have a campaign, but it will be in your own expense. People will be able to vote for if you're a better leader, not because they like you. They will vote for you if you are a good leader to our world, to our country. Any sort of bribery involved in this thing will automatically cut that person out of the running. If there are more than 2 candidates that will meet the requirements, there will be a voting to see which candidate will be running. Which 2 candidates, sorry.
So what's the voting operation?
Well, when citizens vote, their votes are counted in tallies. At the end, whichever candidate gets the most votes or tallies will get the job. All citizens can only vote once for that specific election.
What are the roles and / powers of government?
Well, a composer cannot abuse their power of creating laws. A composer can make laws to according to what the citizens want. Explanatory decision makers cannot abuse their power and change the laws to benefit themselves only. It has to benefit our whole country. An explanatory decision maker can refuse a law so that it doesn't get passed, but sometimes compromises are going to have to be made.
Well, if you don't mind, can I do the checks and balances?
Sure.
Great. So this is what the composers can do over the explanatory decision makers. So they can create laws, and they can also make an impeachment on the president. They can suggest wars if the people want them, and ban products from Kulkaras. That's because if a product isn't working or selling good, why would we want it in our country? And they would just mainly listen to the citizens there. So the things that the explanatory decision makers can do over the composers are declare laws unconstitutional if they are not working out. They're in charge of the military, and they declare wars. They take suggestions from the composers, but they actually declare them. And then they approve all employees working in the government department, and then they create a court if one's needed. And they work with foreign affairs and peoples of other countries.
Better than I could say it.
Thank you.
Well, if you don't mind, I kind of have to go now, so bye.
Bye.
In case you didn't get that, the country of Kulkaras has 2 branches of government, no constitution, 35 states, 1 6-year term for president, and elections are held every 6 years for president, and you must be 40 years or older to be president. But in the country of United States of America, they have 3 branches of government, they have a constitution, they have 50 states, and they have the president can serve 2 4-year terms. And the election is held every 4 years for the president, and the president must be 35 years or older. Some similarities we have with our friend, the United States, is we both have 1 president and vice president, and both presidents can live in the White House, but which we call in our country the constructing building. And of ours, we both have a Bill of Rights too.